Hi ma'am, good day. So we are the group 6. Now let's move on to the chapter 12 is all about ethics in supply chain operations. So ethics is a systematic philosophy that directs people in their works and how they behave themselves. So respects, confidence, justice, diligence, probity, dignity, and honesty are all principles that ethical conduct encompasses. Since ethics serves as the foundation of every company, it is a critical element in strategic planning. Meanwhile, when planning and executing plans, it is important for a company to consider not only its returns and benefits, but also unethical considerations. So, in the ethics in supply chain operations encompasses a wide range of practices aimed at ensuring fairness, responsibility, and sustainability throughout the supply chain. While there are challenges in implementing these practices, the benefits in terms of reputation, risk management, and long sustainability make it a critical aspect of modern business operations. Ethics and supply chain is ethical considerations are crucial in supply chain operations as they impact various stakeholders, including suppliers, producers, retailers, and customers. Ethical practices in the supply chain ensure transparency, social responsibility, and environmental sustainability. So, adherence to ethical standards can enhance brand reputation, reduce risk, and foster long term partnership with suppliers and customers. So, here the supply chain ethics problem in a nutshell. First, being an ethical company is not enough anymore. Two, your brand will be judged by the company it keeps. Third, your whole supply chain must be ethical. Fourth, the biggest brand in the chain will get most of the blame. Fifth, solutions can and should be implemented immediately, for inaction can be damage brand reputation. And the last one, the cost of implementation can be affordable. So here are the 7 importance of ethical practices in supply chains. First, reputation and trust. Second, regulatory compliance. Third, sustainability. Fourth, competitive advantage. Fifth, ethical production. Six is supply partnerships. And 7, customer loyalty. So, in the reputation and trust, implementing ethical practices builds reputation and fosters trust with customers, partnerships, and stakeholders. For the regulatory compliance, adhering to ethical standards helps organizations comply with laws and regulations, avoiding fines and legal issues. So, in the sustainability, ethical practices promote environmental friendly and socially responsible supply chain operations for long term sustainability. For the competitive advantage, ethical supply chains can provide a competitive edge and differentiate a company from rivals. So, for the ethical production, maintaining ethical practices throughout the production from worker treatment to environmental impact is crucial for brand and consumer trust. So, for the supplier partnerships, collaborating with suppliers who share commitment to the ethics builds strong, transparent relationships that benefit the entire supply chain. And lastly, customer loyalty. Consumers are increasingly aware of and demand ethical practices, leading to greater brand loyalty for companies that prioritize sustainability and social responsibility. So, here is how ethics and supply chain management are tied to business expansion. So, ethics is the agreed upon law of behavior of any transaction between two or more individuals. Our supply chain is a path that a product or service uses to reach its final destination. For the supply chain ethics, underpin and trustworthy and responsible customer service experience. The supply chain networks have been redesigned to provide the most strategic solutions for increasing a company economic and social efficiency. So in the ethics, to ensure that everyone in the company is clear on the mission, values, and guiding principles of the company. For the supply chain ethics, keeps the mechanism of supply and demand operating smoothly so that people have access to goods and services. Despite the reality that providing an efficient and secure supply chain is complex, if not impossible, all business players, including management, manufacturing personnel, suppliers, retailers, and consumers, must consider the following forms of ethical conduct. So, here are the 4 forms of ethical conduct. These are high standards of professionalism. Second, transparency and accountability. Third, personal integrity. And fourth is compliance and constant improvement. So, for the high standards of professionalism, each component of the supply chain should be held in accordance with its rule. It means treating others with respect and refraining from allowing advances that could be detrimental to some. Many of the terms of requirements that have been defined must be followed by all. So in the high standards of professionalism, it means these standards help build trust, improve the quality of service provided, and enhance the reputation of both the individual and the organization, and also to contribute individual growth and development. In the transparency and accountability, any transaction or adherence to company policies could place a premium on honesty and transparency. In the transparency and accountability, it means accountability and transparency are 2 important elements of good governance. Transparency is a power force that, when consistently applied, can help fight corruption, improve governance, and promote accountability. Together, transparency and accountability form the foundation of good governance and ethical practices, fostering trust, integrity, and effectiveness in various sectors. For the personal integrity, the personal integrity of every person should be a leading force, ensuring that the whole supply chain adheres to the appropriate policies. Receiving benefits behind the backs of people to gain an unfair advantage is unethical and should be discouraged for all employees. So, in the personal integrity, it means can also keep high value consumers or customers, reduce employee turnover, improve productivity, and make smart decisions. Plus, integrity leads employees to be honest about what they accomplish and proactive when they have questions. That means fewer missed deadlines and less employee burnout. And lastly, compliance and constant improvement. Progressive transportation should be used as a model for the right supply chain process. Although purchasing a code of ethics for use in a business is realistic, staying current on industry dynamics should be expected. Doing all above mentioned ethical issues in the workplace would get you higher marks from the government as well as outside investors. Compliance and constant improvement. It means both compliance and constant improvement are essential for maintaining high operation standards and achieving long-term success in any organizations. This in turn can lead to higher employee retention rates and greater job satisfaction and improved morale. Incorporating compliance management into a continuous improvement program is not just a regulatory requirement. It's a strategic business imperative. So, this report to be continued discussed for Mr. Turco.
Supplier Ethics Management. Supplier ethics management is a practice of controlling supply relationship by producers, and the metrics and that better align suppliers' businesses conduct with purchaser requirements with the goal of reducing the purchaser total likelihood of supply chains corporate credibility failure. Supplier conduct alliance with purchaser standards in all three major of areas and corporations. Supplier integrity, compliance, under the compliance is law of regulations, ethics, under of ethics is internal values, corporate responsibility, under the corporate responsibility is external values. Next is supplier code, labor practices and standards. This include the safeguards against childhood labor, non-discrimination, health and safety working condition, working hours, compensations, right of associations, and freely chosen employment. Next is environmental policies. This comprises the products of and materials used and technology transport system. Ethics, putting an anti-corruption laws in effect that and adhering equal market practices. It comes recruiting potential companies, employing employees, and training partners relationship. Next is the emergency supply chains ethic issues. We have four emergency supply chains ethical issues. First one is producers. The supply chains phase, producers can be encountered a variety of ethics issues. Working standards, labor costs, childhood labor, environmental unfriendly issues, working including the manufacturers and producer and waste disposal, and etc. and more. Next is supplier. Supplier are an essential part of company supply network. Not every producers obtain all of its raw materials from same source. Next is retailers. Similarly, misleading practices in product processing and labeling have been identified in the grocery sectors. Customers' packaging is equal to the weight relevant on the label. Next is customers. Customers have begun purchasing imitation goods that are far less expensive. Their sole buying policy is price driven rather than consistent driven. Conclusion and best practices ethical supply chain management. We have 5. Establishment comprehensive code and production that outline ethical standards and expectation of all supply chains partner. Implementing, auditing, and monitoring processes to ensure compliance with ethical policies throughout the supply chain. Encourage transparency and open communication between all stakeholders and address ethical concerns proactively. Invest in employee training on ethical decision making and supply chain best practices. Collaborate with industry groups and NGOs to stay informed on emerging ethical issues and best practices.
Chapter 13: Trends, Issues, and Challenges in Supply Chain Management in the Hospitality Industry. So today's supply chain is centered on the customers and their experiences. In the hotel industry supply chain, the customer should be emphasized. Logistics and supply chain management is critical in the hotel business. Okay, so here are the top trends in supply chain. First is supply chain digitization. So it digitized the supply chain, which requires all efforts to integrate company operations into a common whole, as well as the introduction of the digital technologies. Second trend is the supply chain solutions will continue to move to the cloud. Despite the fact that certain companies employ on-premise supply chain technology, the cloud is the way of the future supply chain. Cloud computing, which comes with a range of varieties such as software as service. Third is omni-channel supply chains. In response to the customer's demand, business will take the major strides toward delivering a true omni-channel shopping experience. due to the competing requirements of individual customer requests as well as replenishing stock at retail outlets. So 4. Sustainability is becoming essential. Customers demand green materials and environmental friendly practices. So rendering sustainability, which is one of the most significant global supply chain trends. So fifth trend is growth in circular supply chains. Manufacturers are transitioning away from the conventional linear supply chain and into the circular supply chain, through which they refurbish or recycle parts into raw materials to substitute and rework recycled and worn out of items. Sixth trend is agile supply chains. To be competitive, supply chains must be flexible and adaptable, as well as capable of responding rapidly to changes. This represents a major departure from the traditional supply chain thinking. Seventh trend is the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things, or IoT, seems to be reaching maturity. According to a survey, the percentage of businesses using lot of goods has risen from 13% in 2014 to 25% in 2019. So organizations may utilize the lot to manage inventory in real time. Big data analytics and supply chain logistics coming together. The growth of lot as well as the improved proliferation of customer data have all aided in the arrival of big data. Using big data, it is possible to assess customer preferences and market trends. Ninth trend is the artificial intelligence, or AI, and machine learning. More businesses are turning to artificial intelligence and deep learning to simplify systems and activities while they obtain access to more big data. Number 10. Using prescriptive analytics to move beyond the limitations of productive supply chains and analytics. So prescription analytics, also known as the new kid on the block, is often used as supply chain decision-making tool. Other forms of analytics such as diagnostic and predictive analytics focus on past and future occurrences to have useful information, but they all suffer from the same flaw. So robotics and automation in logistics. So many companies are turning to robotics to speed up labor-intensive activities as they react to the competing demands of omnichannel supply chains, especially in terms of flexibility and
So, issue and challenges in supply chain management. First is quality customer service. It is the management of the supply chains is focused on the customer's needs. Just a matter of having the right amount of product in the right amount in the right time. All of this will happen at the very right time and location. Number 2 is costing. Costing is the cost of raw materials, energy, and labor has increased globally as a result of economic pressures. Adjustment must be made to keep system running and provide customer with high quality goods at fair cost. The best way to address this issue is to enhance your expense control by introducing proactive plans and continuously updating them. Next is risk management. So, risk management, the operation will pose major obstacles as a result of the relentless change, which is caused by a variety of factors such as consumer state, political agendas, and global sourcing. If you recruit a logistics software developing company, you will be able to effectively handle this issue with less effort by your side. And after all, logistic management is vital to the whole operation. And number 4 is supplier relationship. This is also allows you to provide resources for successful improvement by maintaining a stronger working relationship with your provider. You would be able to perform more efficiently and provide more results and with a shorter period of time. And number 5 is a qualified personnel. A staff hired in this position must be mindful of their responsibilities and duties. They are starting to build market appeal when it becomes harder to attract dedicated workers for this industry. At this stage, recruiting and maintaining in-house staff will be most cost-effective solution. And number 6 is under-forcing delays. While purchasing materials and product is straightforward, delivery always be on time, owning to time difference and a broad variety of time frames. Delays like these are common as goods are sourced from different countries. And number 7 is the fast-changing market. So business must be more flexible to be profitable in these changing times. The transition maybe have occurred. We must manage how we respond to transition through logistic management, and our flow will change and we can boost our overall efficiency. So that's all. Thank you for listening.